Well, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The Honorable Rector of Universitas Negeri Makassar or their representatives, the Honorable Director of Postgraduate Program of Universitas Negeri Makassar, Profesor Dr. Insinyur Andi Muhammad Idham, STMT IPM, the Honorable Vice Director for Academic and Student Affairs, Profesor Dr. Risma Niswaty, SS, M.Si, the Honorable Vice Director for General Affairs and Finance, Professor Dr. Nur Hikmah, SPD, M.Si, distinguished guests, respected speakers, esteemed academics, colleges, researchers, postgraduate students, and participants joining us today from across Indonesia and various parts of the world. It is my great pleasure and honor that I welcome you all to the UNM Postgraduate Program Global Academic Forum, or we can say UNM-GAF Chapter 1, organized by the TASKFORCE for Collaboration, Publication, and Academic Reputation of the Postgraduate Program Universitas Negeri Makassar. I'm Ashabul Kahfi Susanto, and it is my great privilege to serve you as your today's Master of Ceremony, as well as moderator for today's International Academic Forum. Ladies and gentlemen, today we gather here across the geographical boundaries and time zones under a theme that is both timely and profoundly significant: artificial intelligence and the future of postgraduate education, transforming teaching, research, and academic practices. Ladies and gentlemen, to start our agenda for today, let's recite Al-Basmalah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Now, to begin this important international gathering, we will honor the national represented by our distinguished speakers and also participants. May I kindly invite everyone to listen, to stand wherever possible for the national anthems of the Republic of Indonesia, the Republic of India, and the Hellenic Republic of Greece. Let us begin.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता। पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा। विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा। तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे। गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता। जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे।
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Now you may be seated. We will now proceed to the next agenda, which is committee report. To deliver the report on behalf of the organizing committee and to provide us with an overview of the organization and objectives of this academic forum, it is my honor to invite Dr. Vivit Rosmayanti, SPDI MPD. The screen is yours.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm really sorry because the secretary now still the way. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellencies, Rector, Vice Rector of Universitas Negeri Makassar, distinguished speaker, respected director, and vice director of the postgraduate program, the colleges, lectures, researchers, the postgraduate student, and all participants joining us today. On behalf of the taxpayer for collaboration, publication, and academic reputation, the postgraduate program Universitas Negeri Makassar, I'm pleased to present a brief report on the implementation of the UNM Postgraduate Global Academic Forum, UNM-GAF Chapter 1. Actually, this forum is initiated as the international academic platform to connect the scholar, share the knowledge, strengthen an academic network, and promote the future collaboration between the Universitas Negeri Makassar and the global academic community. So we are very grateful for the enthusiastic response to this inaugural forum. As 9 a.m. on today, September 1st, a total of 546 participants have registered for this agenda. So these encouraging numbers reflect as the strong interest of academic community in the theme of artificial intelligence and the future of postgraduate education. So we sincerely thanks our three distinguished speakers from India, Greece, and Indonesia, so as well as the leadership of the graduate program, the organizing committee, and also the everyone who support this event. The official program convene the participant of Dr. Souvik Ganguli, my dear Professor Rania Lampou from Greece, and our Vice Director of Postgraduate Program, Professor Dr. Risma Niswaty. And we really hope this UNM-GAF will continue as a regular global academic forum. So we plan in the first week of every month, inshallah. So creating a meaningful opportunities for knowledge exchange, international networking, publication, research collaboration, and academic partnership. Thank you so much for your participation and support. And we wish everyone a productive, inspiring, and meaningful forum. Thank you. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
So thank you very much for the time. So thank you very much for the organizing committee. We now come to the most important moments of today's opening session, which is the official welcome and opening remarks. It is great honor for us to invite the director of the postgraduate program of Universitas Negeri Makassar to officially welcome all participants and formally open the UNM Postgraduate Global Academic Forum. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Professor Dr. Insinyur Andi Muhammad Idhan, STMT IPM, to open this session.
Thank you. I'm sorry because I am attending the professor inauguration. Yeah, I'm sorry. Baik. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Distinguished speaker, respected colleagues, lecturer, research, postgraduate student, and participant joining use from Indonesia and abroad. On behalf of the postgraduate program of Universitas Negeri Makassar, it's my great pleasure to warmly welcome you to the UNM Postgraduate Global Academic Forum, UNM. We are especially honored to welcome our distinguished speaker, Dr. Souvik Ganguli from India. Welcome to Indonesia, UNM. Professor Rania Lampou from Greece, thank you. And Professor Dr. Risma Niswaty from Indonesia, Universitas Negeri Makassar. Thank you very much for sharing your valuable time, knowledge, and participation with our academic community. Today is artificial intelligence and the future of postgraduate education, transforming teaching research and academic practice is highly relevant to the rapid transformation of higher education. Artificial intelligence offer tremendous opportunities, but it also challenges us to rating how we teach, conduct research, maintain academic integrity, and prepare our postgrad, uh, postgraduate student for the future. I hope this forum will become an meaningful platform for sharing knowledge, strengthening international academic network, and creating opportunities for future collaboration between Universitas Negeri Makassar and scholar and institution around the world. Finally, I would like to express my appreciation to the task force for collaboration, publication and academic, reputation, and everyone involved in organization this forum. By saying Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, I officially declare the UNM Postgraduate Global Academy from UNM. Thank you, and I was everyone productive and inspiring forum. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Professor, for the inspiring welcome and meaningful opening remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, academic excellence is not only expressed by the scientific inquiry, intellectual discussion, and research innovation. It is also enriched by culture, creativity, and artistic expression. As we celebrate this international academic gathering, we are delighted to present a creative cultural performance by our talented students of UKM Seni dan Budaya Universitas Negeri Makassar. Please enjoy the performance. Well, thank you very much. Distinguished guests and dear participants, we have now reached the conclusion of our opening session, and we'd like to express our sincere appreciation for all distinguished guests, university leaders, member of the organizing committee, participants who have contributed to the success of this important session. Let's close our opening ceremony by reciting Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin.
Alhamdulillah.
Well, before we proceed to the next agenda, now let's have a photo session together.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think we have uh, s- seven slide in this room. So let me lead this session. One, two, cheese. Okay. The next slide. Okay. One, two, cheese. Okay. Thank you. Okay. The third slide. Okay. One, two, cheese. Okay. Last. Okay. One, two, cheese. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much. Am I audible? All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, now we will now proceed to the next agenda, which is the academic sharing session. Yeah. So for the first session, we we'd like to welcome our first speaker for today. So yeah, as the artificial intelligence for today's globalized world continues to transform the educational institutions and scholarly practices around the world, it is increasingly important for academics, researchers, and educators, especially for postgraduate students, to engage critically with, of course, with its development. So today's forum brings together distinguished experts from different national and professional contexts to share their perspectives and expertise. Without further ado, let us begin our first session. It is now my great honor to introduce our first speaker. Our first speaker is Dr. Souvik Ganguli from the Department of Electrical and Instrumental Engineering, Thapar Institute of Engineering and Technology, India. We are truly delighted to honor and to have Dr. Ganguli joining us today and share his expertise and also his perspective in this international academic forum. So, artificial intelligence is fundamentally rooted in interdisciplinary knowledge and also technological innovation. Therefore, insights from engineering and technological disciplines are particularly valuable, I think, in helping us understanding how AI shaping educational and academic environments. So, ladies and gentlemen, please join me to welcome Dr. Souvik Ganguli. The virtual floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon to you. Good morning to the audience from India, if there are any. I'll share my screen and start the presentation. We see also operating with a new Windows system. Am I audible clearly?
Yes, you're audible, I think.
Is my screen visible to all of you?
Yes, it is, sir.
So let's start my presentation discussing on what we had been working for almost a year now. And we are trying to align brain functions with the curriculum and how certain pedagogical model can be developed to align basically the curriculum, pedagogy, as well as the assessment part, which involves some human cognitive as well as the brain function. So myself, Dr. Souvik Ganguli, from Thapar Institute of Engineering and Technology. So we had started looking at certain models based on, this is my brief profile. You can always link up with me at any point of time regarding any research activities and projects too. And we'll not waste time on this slide. We'll get into the problem. First of all, that why it made us think that we can work upon with the current education system, or rather the higher education system. So there are certain inconsistencies with curriculum and our pedagogical techniques. So our human brain, how it actually learns, how it communicates, how it memorizes. So this was lacking with the part related to curriculum. So we thought that why not work on certain models which are already existing, and based on which how the students can be relieved from any academic pressure if the student feels undermotivated or under supported. So how we can cope up with this particular problem which is existing in our current higher education system. So basically, we are targeting three parts. One is the cognitive psychology part, understanding how your mind processes and how does it retain the information. The other is mapping of brain functions with learning and memory as well. And of course, education, whatever education that you are talking about, be it uh, uh, literature, be it arts, be it engineering, be it technical education, likewise. So how we can map up the curriculum with our instructional design. So basically, we are trying to address three disciplines primarily. One is cognitive psychology, the other is neuroscience, and the third is education. So these are some of the models that we attempted. Some models are already in practice. So we will discuss one by one. And this coinage has been given by us, Brediculum, which is a curriculum design and pedagogy model. And we try to address some of the human cognitive and the brain functions, and which plays an important role to enhance the students' learning, reduce their academic pressure, and also reinforce them into a positive, healthy mindset. So we will try to think over some of the things. And of course, knowingly or unknowingly, every teacher or every teaching community is always already practicing these sort of things. Just we don't know the models, or we don't exactly know how to apply it and how to implement it. So basic goals that we formulated were enhancing the learning process to boost up the experiential learning activity, because I am from personally from engineering background. So we expect that students should learn through hands-on activities, through their practical training. Reduce academic pressure, of course. There should be a positive mental health, and academic motivation to strengthen or to motivate the students to create more. And at the same time, we must understand that the stress management should be reduced, and create a community of creative thinkers, basically, with sound health as well as sound mindsets. So these were the objectives with which we started with. Uh, these are some of the principles that we are going to discuss, and we have already we didn't formulate all these principles; these were already existing. So we had taken up around 7-8 models, and we tried to implement them on a classroom. And in the process, we tried to see that whether we can improve the stress management, whether we can work upon the mental health of the student, or whether we can motivate the students to come to their labs, whether we can motivate them to come to their practical classes, do some hands-on work in their capstone project, likewise. So what we are targeting basically is every learning is having some purpose. So the first model that we are seeing over here is that learning is purposive means that we are into some purposive behaviorism. Say, for example, whatever we technical things we teach, that has some relevance to the industry, that has some relevance to the practical world. So how we can connect them? Say, for example, whatever small topics that you pick up, preferably I pick up from the technical side, but you may be from different backgrounds. So you become an example that why we are studying this. Any contextual topic that you pick up and how do we enter into it. So there is a framework which we call as the KBCB framework, which is based on knowledge, belief, commitment, and how do you plan. So this, of course, one by model, we will discuss one of the principles, and you can attempt any one of them. Another thing is that we often work upon those who are dealing with language-based subjects and those who are doing some vocabulary-based assignments. They uh, develop the reasoning and the mathematical skills of the students. So it is advised that you can go for any foreign language course. You can go any literature based on foreign languages. So over here in India, we mostly are into learning French and learning German predominantly because this is the need of the hour. That if a person is from technical background and they prefer to go in the Western countries, they prefer to move out for France or Germany. So based on that technical side, so obviously, uh, if French and German one can learn, so definitely there is an improvement in the quantitative ability, in the reasoning ability through the principle of cognitive mutualism. So this is what our brain learns from, or how we can improve upon our cognitive skills. Of course, we talk about sleep and learning. This is the third principle we have in mind: early to bed and early to rise. And with that, if we can have some morning classes, that would be definitely aiding your, because it's better that you learn in the morning something that your mind is fresh totally. And however, of course, sleep will be a critical issue for memory to be remaining consolidated. So of course, you can play distinct roles in the learning process. That how are the students being sleeping all night in the hostels, whether they are awake till late hours, and of course that is will affect their GPA as well as their attendance as well. So we try to implement classes in the morning, preferably for my lectures. So mostly I'll have my lectures at 8 o'clock or 8:50 in the morning. So this is how I operate with. But in case the student is not sleeping, or he or she is not having adequate sleep, obviously he or she will not be able to concentrate properly in the class or interact in class. Uh, this is another principle that we are going to discuss, that it is also a part related or associated with your general intelligence and academic success, and that is what we call as working memory. So whatever task is assigned, whatever information or some goal-oriented uh, behavior that you can exploit of, it can be done with the help of working memory and intelligence, or working memory and disabilities, or even working memory training. How do you train yourself, and so that you are able to collect a good amount of data. So these sort of things you can see, and you can try. It's not that always all principles you are going to apply one by one. It's not that whichever you find that it is convenient to your class, you can apply that, you can implement that as well. Building schema is another. It is a cognitive construct that organizes your new knowledge, and also working on the existing memory frameworks, and of course dealing with the interpretation of whatever data you have, or how whatever problem that you are solving. So based on this experiential learning theory, because most of these technical courses or engineering based courses mostly deal with hands-on experience or concrete experience, reflective observation, abstract conceptualization likewise, and active experimentation as well. So time and again we'll be talking about experiential learning because it is best to apply experiential learning or hands-on activities in engineering courses rather than the non-engineering or the non-technical courses. So this is what Cole's experiential learning circle is all about. This we have just now hinted upon, concretizing the experience, reflecting upon the observations that we have, developing an abstract, and then experimenting on it. So this is how it can touch all the four modes, and this is how your students will be able to think and apply. Spaced repetition is another important aspect that you can carry out, and we normally are doing everything but not in the way in terms of theories that we are strong at. So time and again we keep on repeating the important information on in a structured way, how we can do it or how we can repeat it. Say for example any formulations that is most important, or time and again we are going to apply it in different problems, and that's why it's called spaced repetition. You keep on repeating the important coinages, important terms, important topologies time and again so that it fits, it remains in the memory of the students. So it creates a stronger or a long-term memory on the part of the students. So spaced learning, spaced repetition is definitely good for the students who are slow learners, or you can say. Repeated memory activation is almost similar to the previous principle. You keep on activating the memory of the students using some better memory consolidation techniques, and of course you can correlate any topics. You can uh, say for example you are repeating any particular topic, or based on the previous topic you are going to do some complex engineering problems or complex assignments. So making it a little bit active learning rather than a passive lecture, and you can promote for some thinking or critical thinking. You can apply for it. So obviously you can repeatedly activate your neural connections and strengthen your synaptic connections, resulting in better memory consolidation. So another you can do is emotional cognitive synchronization. So there are certain positive emotions. You need to suppress your native language processing, or you need to mitigate out any negative emotions on the part of the students, expand the cognitive behavior of the students, make them self-driven or self-directed basically. So institution has also some role to play over here, and they may employ some experts to periodically assess the emotional status of the students using some common test batteries. So these are some of the things by virtue of which we can motivate the students and help them achieve. So definitely negative mood should be avoided, and it will hinder the learning process and including your vocabulary acquisition. So positive emotions, definitely some amount of joy, some amount of hope, some amount of pride to seek their attention, to seek their cognition. So likely to discuss a little bit about the case study that we took up in third year course, and that constituted of 33 electrical engineering students. I was teaching a course on electrical industrial drives and automation, mathematical based course as well as a technical course for third year electrical engineering students. So mostly, majorly, we took into account the cognitive mutualism because they were also having parallel to my session. They were also having generic elective in which they were learning French or German predominantly, and we took them into some practical activities because it involved some, the course demanded for some practical exposure on the different automation related part or industrial drives related part, and they were supposed to do some experiential work or some assignment, and also some cognitive alignment, so that spaced repetition with repeated activation of their memory. So we have tried to progressively work on three predominantly neuropedagogical recommendations, and we tried to implement them in our course. Another is that, say, for example, we were talking about drives and motors and their characteristics and what are their real world examples, and trying to analyze the energy efficiency of a three-phase induction motor, which we normally find in the metro railways or something of that sort. So connecting them with the facts and knowing their theories, so that arousing the curiosity of the students and how important they are for their learning and for their placements as well. And of course, whole cycle in the lab. So obviously, we try to simulate the V by F control method, which is in one of the common practices in induction motor drive systems through MATLAB. This is basically a software, and then reflecting on the transient responses, and then try to implement them on the hardware kits. So basically, moving from the simulation part to the real world scenario, and the definitely the four stages of the whole experiential model has been adopted, and the students felt that they are better benefited, or they attended more of the lab sessions. They found interest in the lab sessions as well. And there were some lab assignments being given likewise to connect theory with practice as well. Another phase, cognitive mutualism and emotional synchronization. So there were some peer group discussions which engaged them into some synergistic applications, and they were made to discuss about the different control strategies in different small groups during the lab sessions. And there were some collaborative presentations that took place, and some peer appreciation method, some weightages for peer appreciation was also made to maintain a positive emotion and emotional cognitive synchronization as well. So we found that the lab attendance increased by leaps and bounds, and students were nearly attending 90% of their labs. Students who were attending the or suffering from low attendance, they were only less than 60% of the labs. They almost dropped to zero. And there was a conceptual transfer or average scores on conceptual transfer questions. They increased by leaps and bounds from their mid-semester performance to the end semester results. They found that we found that there was a significant improvement. So some of the key results that we have tried to pre-intervention and post-intervention, and based on which we found that the attendance improved much. Students were ready to access their lab sessions. They came to the labs, and almost thrice the attendance that became after the post-intervention. And there were almost no low attendance students, almost no. So this improved their motivation, this improved their emotional engagement to that subject, to the practical knowledge, and they were eager to learn as well. So some performance related issues, that those who scored below 60% of their total marks, uh, there are very few students, and of course, a large proportion of them scored between 75 to 80% range. So we got a significant improvement, uh, and we found that they were able to understand the equations, and they were able to be confident in solving different problems that were given to them during their examination. So you can find out the conceptual transfer, and that is why we try to tell them that conceptual transfer increased rapidly. Some procedural questions, you'll find that 62% to 76%, a bigger, large improvement. Direct recall questions, they found from 70 to 80%. So that is also a significant, but the biggest change in the post intervention is the conceptual transfer, where they were almost close to 25% increase in the participation of the conceptual transfer of knowledge questions. So, well-being of the students, they were less anxious, they had a lower stress, and also their confidence increased, which was finally beneficial in their placement or internship scenarios. So we expected a deep conceptual understanding. We expected a better motivation and reduce the stress level so that these, of course, don't justify the universality of vernacular because uh, almost less than close to 30 students were evaluated. So we expect that in a bigger class, say for example, I'm teaching a class currently which is of strength 130, 125. Maybe a longitudinal study of this particular strength would have given me a little bit more criticism with respect to whatever they are learning. And main objective is to move from a passive teacher-centric learning or a low engagement learning to a neuropedagogy, which is based on active learning. And we try to assign every day some active tasks and with some feedback, and that should be guided by some cognitive metrics as well. So whatever we have been implementing and whatever we have tried to follow and try to engage a neuro pedagogy aspect about matching your curriculum with pedagogy as well as assessment. And we got slight success. We should say slight success because the class strength was almost near to close to 30. We expect that this study should be longitudinally extended, and we are working on a particular project in which the STEM education will be targeted, and of course we are expecting that almost 1,000 students or around 10 lecture groups should be addressed so that these we are trying to train up the faculties out here, and working on such models will definitely help them. And of course the students will feel motivated to come to the class as well as discuss with their doubts and get the technical knowledge as well. So of course, systematic adoption of engineering curriculum worldwide will and a large-scale longitudinal investigation is definitely required, which we are trying to implement through some projects. And we are targeting the first-year engineering courses, the engineering science, the core engineering courses, as well as the science, that means physics, chemistry, and mathematics courses, where we can target as many as 2,000 students distributed in two different groups. So we are at least targeting 50% as of now because the faculty has to be trained to engage their class so that the cognitive skills are being improved and as well as the students feel motivated to come to the class. And the students must address the experiential mode, that means hands-on practices, and should engage in more hands-on practices so that they can learn better. So this is what we have been discussing so far. This is just a basic mapping up of what we have discussed. You are free to connect with me, and if you have any doubts, I'll be happy to answer. Thank you so much. And once again, my special thanks to Andy for organizing and within a very short time, whatever we have been able to discuss. But of course, these topics require much more intervention and much more longitudinal studies are required. This is just the beginning. As I told you that we are collaborating with the cognitive science people. We are trying to take up the things to train some of the faculties from different branches of STEM education, and we try to get a longitudinal study of at least 1,000 people, 1,000 students, so that we can formulate our own framework. Thank you so much once again. Thanks for being a patient listener, and I hope that you enjoyed my lecture. And if you have any doubts, if you have any questions, you are ready to ask.
All right, thank you very much for the inspiring presentation, of course, yeah, from Dr. Souvik Ganguli. Now let's proceed to the Q&A session. So I'll invite all participants to ask questions. So, well, beforehand, I think we've got two questions here from the chat box. So the first question from Bapak Abdoili Jonga from Universitas Negeri Padang. The question is, where should universities draw the line between legitimate AI assistance and academic misconduct, particularly when the boundary is becoming increasingly difficult to define? So I think this is commonly understood by everyone. So yeah, we'd
Uh,
like to hear from
we
your
had been working with AI in education, AI in research, and of course, we face the same issue similar to the other universities outside India. Also, you must be facing similar sort of things about misconduct, and these days, students we cannot take back the students that go to that particular age where you don't need to apply ChatGPT or don't need to apply Gemini and all those things. We cannot. And at the same time, we have there should be some ethical practices as well, and some ethical guidelines to write a project, to write a assignment, definitely, and some definitely some plagiarism related issues can be sorted out, and there should be some certain limits that should be set in the ethical guidelines, definitely, to counteract these activities, because you cannot stop, you cannot go 40 years back and say that no, I'll not strictly not use AI. So of course we are also using it. In fact, some of the presentation slides you will find that we have used generative AI tools as well. So there is nothing wrong in that, but at least you should deliver some insights from your side. It should not be 99% from AI side and 1% contribution from your side, just typing your name and roll number. No, this is not acceptable, of course. So there are certain limits. Say, for example, we too have our in our university, we are having certain limits for the assignment, certain limits for the project reports or the capstone project reports, and even the internship reports as well. So we had certain restrictions till the reports are within 10-15% AI content. They are not accepted. So I think every university can maintain such things, and such academic misconduct can be dealt off. Thank you.
So thank you so much. Yeah, so I think, yeah, we are on the same boat. Yeah, I think this kind of case is undeniable. So the most important thing is that we are thinking about the ethical consideration of using AI ethics. Right, thank you very much. Now let's proceed to the next question from Pak Andi Asrifan. So how can the brain curriculum neuropedagogical approach be practically integrated into postgraduate teaching, particularly in AI-enhanced learning environment, without reducing the important role of human interaction and critical thinking?
We already told you that there are certain principles, that certain models are there. Say, for example, when we are teaching a technical course, preferably we require hands-on or simulation-based tools are there, hardware-based experimentations are there. So we have a certain age while implementing them on a technical course. But if you are not teaching a technical course, maybe you are from arts or humanities background or social sciences background, to be honest, I think you can apply some of the principles and some of the models which we have discussed today, and may the PPT be shared with the participants, and they can also go through the, because actually the thing is that one conference paper which we have already presented, but fortunately or unfortunately, it's these models which I have discussed. These models are already in practice, and you can access the paper a little later this year, because it will be published. It is already accepted, and some book proceedings we need to wait for. Springer based book proceedings we are waiting for that, so that you can search my profile and you can get actual paper, and rest of the things you can don't search with Brenaculum, because this the topology you will not find, but you can of course relate to some of the theories that we have discussed, because these are not developed by us. These are already developed by people who are working with the cognitive science areas, and these models and practices are also already there. We were just implementers to that, and we tried to develop a framework which will help us for the technical courses. And gradually we are trying to do it for STEM education as well in the longitudinal study. So you can take up any cognitive areas or educational psychology based courses or educational psychology based things. And based on it, you can develop your own model in teaching a particular topic as well.
Right, thank you very much. Is there any other questions from the participants here? So if you have any other queries, questions, just drop me a message, or you can just speak up if you'd like to speak. So one of our participants dropped me a message. She said that, can we access the PowerPoints, the slides of your slides, sir? Is it possible? I mean, later on, for example, can access or something. So, is there any other questions from participants about today's topic? So I think we are limited by the time. We still got 2 minutes left to have the next presenter, speaker. So if you haven't got any queries, so thank you. I'd like to say thank you very much for Dr. Souvik Ganguli for the great or excellent presentation, of course. Yeah, talking about Praniculum, neuropedagogical approach, I think. So for today's presentation, I think perhaps one of the conclusion or takeaways we can got is that effective education should not simply focus on what students need to learn, but also on how learning occurs within the cognitive, emotional, and social dimensions of the learner. So thank you very much for the first presenters, Dr. Souvik Ganguli, for the presentation. Now let's proceed to the next session. Now it's my great honor to introduce our second speaker. Please welcome Professor Rania Lampou. She is affiliated with the Greek Ministry of Education and the Directorate of Educational Technology and Innovation. Her professional expertise and engagement in educational technology and innovation make her perspective particularly relevant for today's discussion. As artificial intelligence increasingly becomes integrated into educational system worldwide, the role of education, innovation, and responsible implementation become increasingly important. So without further ado, I think she has the expertise and her experience would be very beneficial for us today. So let me invite Professor Rania Lampou to share her presentation.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Warm greetings to all our distinguished dignitaries here, respected professors and speakers and esteemed research scholars, students and participants, and ladies and gentlemen. It's a great honor and privilege to join you today virtually for the first UNM Postgraduate Global Academic Forum 2026. So from Greece to Indonesia and India, I'm very delighted to be part of this important academic gathering. A forum that brings together global scholars with a shared commitment to connecting knowledge, advancing research, and shaping the future of higher education. And let me begin by expressing my sincere appreciation to all organizers of this program, and of course, extend my appreciation and thanks to Dr. Andy Srifan for his kind invitation. The theme of this forum could not be more timely, And before starting to share my presentation, I would like to say that AI has already entered the classroom, the laboratory, the research process, the library, decreasingly the everyday life of the researcher and the student. So what the students should humans do now when AI can do so much? And for postgraduate education, this question becomes even more significant. A postgraduate student is expected to question, to investigate, to analyze, to create, to challenge assumptions, to produce new knowledge, to contribute something meaningful to society. So AI should not replace, of course, intellectual journey of the postgraduate researcher. It should redesign it. So we need to redesign actually postgraduate teaching and assessment at the same time. Around the world, we talk about new methods of evaluation and assessment, especially in higher education, so that we can evaluate not only the final product, not anymore, but the thinking process behind it. So teaching will be measured by the ability to think beyond what AI produces. It will be an academic and ethical decision, of course, and it will be co-created by the global academic community. So I will start now sharing my presentation. Is it visible now?
Okay, it's visible.
Okay, if it's moving also, yes, it's moving also, right?
Yes, it's moving also.
Okay, thank you. So my topic will focus on what we call intelligent university in the AI era. First, we will start with the generations of universities. The first generation of universities focusing only on knowledge, how we can transfer knowledge. The second generation was focusing on scientific discovery. We have the first PhDs. The third generation was focusing on innovation industry, the first startups. And now we are in the fourth generation. We talk about networked universities, and the focus is the social challenges, sustainability, and smart cities. Gen AI systems can now support all stages of the research process: literature discovery, writing, coding, data analysis, translation, content creation, and research ideation. For postgraduate education, this transformation is particularly significant because postgraduate studies fundamentally concerned with independent thinking, with knowledge creation, and research contribution. The emergence of AI now presents universities with a strategic choice. Should they simply integrate AI into existing academic practices, or should they fundamentally redesign these practices for an AI-enabled world? So sorry, why was disconnected? Okay. Is it visible now, my presentation? Or it was disconnected?
Still on proceeding, I think. Yeah, it's visible now.
It's visible, okay. Okay, so the intelligent university should not be understood as a university that only uses technology. It should be a university capable of using AI intelligently while preserving human agency, academic integrity, of course, disciplinary expertise, creativity, and ethical responsibility. And that's why UNESCO emphasizes that Gen AI in education should be used through a human-centered approach that protects agency, inclusion, equity, privacy, meaningful learning. And more recent UNESCO work on higher education also identifies the need for competency framework specifically for the university context. So we're moving from the digital university or smart university, where smart university has to do with only technological infrastructure, to what we call intelligent university. Artificial intelligence introduces a qualitatively different transformation, because now we enable systems, AI enables systems to interpret information, to identify patterns, to make predictions, to support decisions. And the central challenge is not, of course, whether universities will adopt AI, but how curricula, the learning outcomes and assessment should be reformed around capabilities that AI cannot simply substitute. for us, such as disciplinary content, critical verification, intellectual independence. So for postgraduate education, the implications are profound because a postgraduate student now can use AI to identify research themes, to explore the literature, to develop conceptual frameworks. So what should postgraduate education become when intelligent technologies participate in the research and learning process? And this is the challenge now for the intelligent university. What should university become when intelligence is no longer exclusively human? That's why we need new models. We need new models because postgraduate education rests on three major pillars: teaching, research, and academic practice. AI is affecting all the three. Doctoral student can use now AI during almost every stage of the research lifestyle. This creates enormous opportunities, but also significant tasks. So the intelligent university must move beyond the simple AI adoption towards AI governance and AI literacy. So here we can see already the first AI teacherless school in UK, which works functions on a pilot basis. We don't know how this will work. We're waiting to see the results. The first AI university in Kerala, in India, which is both promising and scary. We're waiting to see the results. And imagine postgraduate teaching. If students can obtain explanations instantly from AI systems, then the lecturer's role should increasingly shift from information provider to research mentor, critical thinker, and learning designer. Of course, this does not make disciplinary expertise less important. It makes the professor's intellectual role more sophisticated because a professor should challenge students here to compare competing theories, to identify the weaknesses in the AI explanations, to defend the methodological choices, to evaluate, very important, evaluate or verify the evidence, formulate hypotheses, and connect theory with real-world problems. So the classrooms can therefore become what? A research laboratory for thinking. And of course, we're talking about more personalized learning because we can identify weaknesses and adapt, and we can identify the knowledge gaps and the preferred learning pathways. We are moving also from lectures, traditional lectures, to intellectual dialogue. The intellectual postgraduate classroom should move from here is the knowledge that we need to know, from here is the problem, and what do you think? So professor can ask which argument is strongest, what evidence supporting, what assumption does it contain. This transforms AI from an answer machine into an object of critical inquiry. So the students no longer simply learning with AI, they are learning how to think about AI. So the AI literate postgraduate student should include these 5 dimensions. The AI literacy has to do with understand the basic principles and limitations of AI, how to use appropriately for learning and research, how to assess AI outputs for accuracy and relevance, the ethics bias also, and ethics, of course, how to understand the issues of ownership, intellectual property, transparency, accountability, and finally the creation. Should be able to design innovative AI-supported solutions. So the AI literacy has to do with the prompt literacy, data literacy, the standard data, the critical thinking, verification skills, how to check sources, evidence, the claims, the ethical reasoning, the collaboration, working effectively with humans and the AI, the metacognition, understanding our own thinking and learning process, because the most valuable graduate may therefore not be the person who knows the most information, be the person who knows to evaluate, to create and act upon information intelligently. So reimagining postgraduate research, already the research itself is being transformed. The traditional research cycle was this. We're starting from the question and we go to publication through the stages, literature review, methodology, data analysis, findings. But now we start with the problem. Then we go to AI-assisted exploration because AI can help us at all stages of our research design. We go then to critical evaluation, then to research design, then human AI analysis, then validation, interpretation, and impact. Of course, AI accelerates the research process, but it cannot replace research responsibility. So a doctoral student, for example, must be still understand why the research question matters, why the methodology was selected, whether the evidence is reliable, whether the analysis is valid, and what the findings actually mean. So AI is a research partner and research accelerator. We identify themes and potential research directions, so we explore, then we structure large volumes of information we organize, then we identify similarities and differences across theories and studies, assist with programming and computational analysis, we generate hypothetical scenarios on alternative perspectives, and we communicate, we simulate, and then we communicate. We adapt our findings for different audiences. So researchers must maintain what we call epistemic control. The researchers should always know what did AI do, what did I do, what did they verify, and what remains uncertain. And of course, said before, for literature discovery, this helps us with a literature review, how to, for example, identify emerging or influential research topics. We can, thanks to AI, we can know which are the influential topics for the next 5 years. It will help us with literature synthesis, with the data analysis, with the research writing. And of course, at the same time, it's also responsible for the validity of the research question, methodological decisions, the interpretation of the evidence, the citations, of course, the ethical compliance, and the originality. So the AI-made literature review, we have amazing tools that we can use for this. I guess that more or less we all have used these tools. AI can help us also with research methodology, for qualitative coding, for programming, for data cleaning. The AI augmented professor, the professor of the intelligent university may increasingly become, of course, of a transmitter of information, will become a research supervisor, a designer, a mentor, a disciplinarity connector. So this could potentially allow academics to devote more time to the activities that are fundamentally human. What is this activities? Dialogue, judgment, empathy, intellectual leadership, mentoring, and creativity. So we go now from, of course, interdisciplinary research to AI-enabled knowledge ecosystems, because imagine an AI research environment connecting engineering with medicine, with education, with environmental science, with economics and social sciences. Such systems could help researchers identify relationships that might remain invisible within isolated disciplinary silos. So the university could therefore evolve from a collection of departments to an AI-enabled knowledge systems. So researchers might use AI to identify the opportunities, emerging social problems, potential collaborators, international research networks, emerging areas of scientific research, and of course, addressing complex challenges like climate change, public health, energy. The Intelligent University is a learning organization. Can become an organization because AI analytics could help universities understand the student retention, the cost participation, the resource utilization. So universities must establish clear boundaries between what data is collected. We're very careful about the issues of data. Here in Greece, we have a scandal with a lack of students' data, so we must be very careful, apply the principle of data minimization, what is use the minimum data what we need, and of course, informed consent, students, teachers, and parents should be given the consent about, should be aware of how their data will be used, what data is collected, why it is collected, who can access it, how long it is retained, how is it used, and how individuals challenge automated decisions. So the AI-enabled academic the academic profession itself may change, because instead of evaluating academics primarily through a traditional outputs, universities may increasingly recognize a broader portfolio of contributions. We will evaluate mentoring, innovation, public engagement. I mentioned about the network universities as the fourth generation of universities, the digital scholarship, the social impact, and the responsible AI user. So from AI adoption to institutional transformation, many universities currently approach AI through individual tools. Already we have plagiarism tools. Universities are using, there is a paradox, of course, that universities are using 21st century technologies inside 20th century academic structures. So we need a deeper transformation, which should involve intelligent teaching, intelligent research, So intelligent teaching has to do with personalized learning, adaptive assessment, intelligent research with AI-assisted discovery, knowledge production, intelligent academic practice, which has to do with academic decision-making, professional development, etc. And very important, the role of assessment. All around the world, we have seen the shift now to oral presentations. So many changes in terms of evaluation. I said before that we need to redesign assessment. Future assessment could increasingly emphasize process rather than product. So students should demonstrate how they developed an answer, should explain and defend the reasoning. So authentic, yes, sir? Yes. Authentic projects. So students apply knowledge to real-world problems. The collaborative problem-solving, students work with peers and AI while documenting the decisions, and the reflective assessment when students explain what they learned, they changed, and what they discovered. And of course, AI transparency. This means that, remember that when we use AI tools for our paper, we need to disclose, this is mandatory now by the majority of journals, we need to disclose, to mention how we use and why we use this tool. Otherwise, the paper will be rejected. And critical verification, students identify errors, bias, or weaknesses in AI-generated outputs. So human-centered, intelligent university. Here, we can remind that universities risk losing some of their essential functions like intellectual diversity, the academic freedom, the human relationships, the creativity. So intelligent universities should not be the university with the most AI, should be the university that uses AI most intelligently, so that these essential human dimensions. The issue of academic integrity and the question of trust. If a student uses AI to brainstorm an idea, is this tool, the work still theirs? Who is the author? Even AI system suggests a research hypothesis. Who owns intellectual contribution? So universities need transparent policies addressing the acceptable AI use, the issues of disclosure, the issues of authorship, co-authorship, the intellectual property, especially when we talk about patents, research ethics, academic misconduct, responsibility for errors. And this comes the research ethics in the age of AI, which has to do with all these issues, the reproducibility, the quantability, the risk of inequality also. Not every student has equal access to high quality tools. So intelligence strategy requires AI inclusion, AI for all, and not only for technologically privileged. From intelligent technology, we go to intelligent governance. So in the tools and still on the other hand can make poor decisions. Why? Because institutional intelligence requires governance. Universities need policies covering all these issues, the procurement, the advice, accessibility, the quotability. We need to protect the human intelligence. If students ask AI to think for them, or to write for them, or to decide for them, then what will happen? They may gradually lose intellectual independence. So the intelligent university must therefore distinguish between cognitive augmentation and cognitive outsourcing. Is a different thing. AI should extend human intelligence and not replace intellectual effort through which education actually occurs. So use AI to do more thinking, not less thinking. From research output, we go to research impact. We don't care about publishing papers, not only many papers, but what's changed because of this research. AI can help researchers transform findings into policy briefs, into prototypes, educational resources, not write a paper and leave it in your desk. Something which actually has impact. Public communication, community solutions. The future researcher becomes not only a producer of publications, but a translator of knowledge into impact. So that's why new model postgraduate education should be structured around 6 interconnected pillars: disciplinary expertise, what do I know deeply, the AI literacy, the critical intelligence, the ethical intelligence, should I use AI this way, the research innovation, what new knowledge can I create, and the social impact, how can my research improve the world? So AI augmented research is a researcher who is critical, who is knowledgeable, who is creative, who is socially responsible. And what the students at universities know now, how will be the university of 2030, Universities should begin with several practical actions, develop institutional AI strategies, move beyond isolated AI policies towards university-wide strategies, introduce postgraduate literacy. Every researcher should understand the AI capabilities, limitations, and ethical risk consequences for the reputation of their institutions, redesign research methodology courses, redesign assessments before establish frameworks, train academic staff, encourage responsible experimentation, and preserve human relationships. Imagine a postgraduate student beginning a research project in 2030. An AI system helps them up with literature. Another tool identifies methodological alternatives. A research assistant helps analyze a large data set. A supervisor challenges a student's assumption. Then the student verifies the AI evidence. And a interdisciplinary team examines the problem from different perspectives. An ethics committee evaluates potential risks. The student develops an original solution. AI helps create simulation visualization, so the research is transformed finally into a policy recommendation. And finally, the student presents the findings to academic, industry, policy makers, and public. So this is not a university where AI has placed people. It's a university where people learn how to use intelligently the knowledge. So towards a new university model, all these layers, teaching, assessment, research, academic practices, we go to more to demonstration of reasoning, to support discovery, to intelligent augmentation, responsible AI governance, and possibly intelligent university frameworks, of course, human-centered, pedagogically meaningful. Technology should serve learning objectives. We don't use technology not because it's trendy or popular. Research-driven AI adoption should be evaluated through evidence rather than technological enthusiasm. Ethical and transparent. Students and academics should understand when and how AI is used. Inclusive, of course, and future-oriented. Prepare students not only for today's systems, but for continuously evolving intelligent technologies. Enter, of course, the postgraduate student of 2030, the skills already mentioned about this, the literacy, the ability to ask better questions, critical thinking, and the new research toolkit has to do with all these amazing systems that we have at our disposal, reference management systems, statistical AI, programming environments, human intelligence will become more valuable. All these kinds of intelligence, whether it is analytical, creative, social, emotional intelligence, AI, alongside with human values, more creativity. For postgraduate students, creativity will mean the ability to identify problems that others overlook. This is a kind of creativity. How to design innovative methodologies, to reinterpret existing evidence, how to translate research into real-world impact. So why does this my research paper matters? Why? Who can use this knowledge? What problem can solve? The ability to work with AI without becoming dependent on AI. The postgraduate supervisor also will change. The supervisor role will focus on critical questions, disciplinary connections, helping students interpret the complex findings, intellectual mentoring, and postgraduate competence, a deep expertise with critical analytical thinking, with impact. And finally, what the universities should do now is develop AI, comprehensive AI programs already at the preschool age, I mean, at all levels of education, ethics education, authentic assessment, research transparency, human-centered research culture. And finally, think about the university after ChatGPT. What should we teach when AI can answer everything? It's the end of information center university. We need to define here the information that we get accurate, how this is applied, what are the risks. We go to asking the questions, what we should teach instead of the research literacy, the communication, the collaboration, lifelong learning, authenticity. Universities must teach human skills. Empathy, leadership, teamwork, communication, emotional intelligence, resilience, responsibility, civic engagement. The teacher after ChatGPT, the lecturer of the past was, we know, the source of information, but the lecturer of the future will become the ethical guide, will become the feedback provider, intellectual challenger. And the university, as a human AI laboratory, students could work with AI to develop together climate solutions, design sustainable cities, improve cybersecurity, explore space science. We go from a degree-centered education to capability-centered education with all these layers here, disciplinary knowledge, literacy, critical, human, ethical innovation, and impact. So the new purpose of the university is to think, question, discover, create, debate, collaborate, pursue truth, contribute to society. And before concluding, I mentioned I'll focus a lot from thesis to innovation, how AI can help us transform postgraduate research into real-world impact. I think this is the most important part for our research, how to move from what I can research to what problem can my problem solve. We start with a real problem, we ask who is affected, we understand the gap, we identify the potential contribution, and finally we test relevance and feasibility. So what makes a thesis capable of becoming innovation? It has practical applicability, creates measurable value. It can move from prototype to implementation. It is scalable, transferable, and considers user stakeholders. So impact, of course, does not mean always commercialization. It means scientific, educational impact, social health impact, policy impact, economic impact, and researchers can connect academic findings with the needs of communities, industry, policymakers, if they involve stakeholders from the beginning, if they try to build university industry partnerships that communicate differently to different audiences, try to measure impact and not just publications, and use AI to accelerate the connections. So from research findings to innovation, we identify the actionable finding, we convert knowledge into value proposition, we protect and transfer the innovation, and the missing bridge between university and the real world. This has to do with experiential learning, the knowledge transfer, with the partnerships and the feedback. And finally, the university of the future is how meaningful problems we will solve in the future, how we will go from the problem to prototype, testing, innovation, and finally, the social economic impact. So AI can help researchers move from prototype to practical solution, when we can simulate real world conditions, we can personalize the solution, we can evaluate the feasibility, finally measure the real world impact. So universities can create pathways for postgraduate research to become startups and social enterprise at the same time. If we can create university innovation hubs, protect intellectual property early, provide seed funding, connect researchers with industry, create different pathways like startups, so spin-off licensing, policy innovation, teach entrepreneurship alongside research methods, establish research entrepreneur mentorship, and use AI as innovator accelerator. Of course, we start from identifying the market or social value. So we'll stop here because I have to stick to the time, and for any question here, I'm very eager to discuss.
All right, thank you very much for Professor Rania Lampou. I think this is really essential, talking about the role of AI, especially for the postgraduates, researchers, and for everyone, I think. So now let's proceed to the Q&A session. So I'll invite everyone, and I highly encourage everyone to floor questions or have a discussion. So I think here
there is a question already in the chat box. Yes.
The first question from Bapak Abdoli Jonga. So the question is, could the rapid adoption of AI unintentionally widen the gap between postgraduate students who have access to advanced AI tools and those who do not? So this is talking about equality among students. So how should university address this case?
Yes, this is one of the most important equity questions in AI-enabled education. So, of course, the rapid adoption of AI could create a new form of AI divide, not simply between students who have technology and those who do not, but between students who have access to powerful, paid, well-integrated AI ecosystems and those relying on basic or limited tools. So how can universities address this? First is democratize access to AI. Universities should provide students with institutional access to appropriate AI tools rather than making advanced AI capability dependent on personal income. Second, build AI literacy for everyone. Access alone is not enough. Universities should offer systematic training in prompt engineering, which is an art. It's not so simple. The AI-assisted research, the data literacy, the academic integrity. Second, establish AI quality as an academic principle. Students should not receive an academic advantage simply because they can afford expensive AI subscriptions. Universities should define a common baseline of AI resources available to every postgraduate student. Support, if it's possible, students with limited digital resources. Universities can provide AI laboratories, campus computing facilities, research software, training sessions, technical support. Collaborate, for example, in Greece, we collaborate with Microsoft, and Microsoft provides to available groups technological infrastructure and laptops. Particularly for students from economically disadvantaged backgrounds. Of course, design assessments that do not reward access alone. Assessments should focus increasingly on critical thinking, on methodological reasoning, on originality, on reflection, and the ability to defend our own research decisions. It should not focus on the quality or a very nice polished final text. And of course, create AI and disciplinary AI support. So a postgraduate research in education, law, and humanities may need very different AI capabilities. Universities should provide discipline-specific guidance rather than one-size-fits-all approach courses. Here, this is very important that universities should aim for inclusion, not only AI adoption, what I said at the beginning, create systems where every student has a fair opportunity to become AI capable, critical, and finally, AI should become a great equalizer in postgraduate education, not a mechanism for academic inequality. So I hope I have answered your question.
I think, yeah, I think you have also answered the follow-up questions from here also, talking about your justification on how AI, in a way that is equal, safe, ethical, and human-centered. I think it has been covered in your presentation and also in your response just now.
Okay, I can say something.
Yeah,
I can
like to say.
add some things to the second question that about safety. AI involves data collection, profiling, sometimes sensitive student information. So here it's very important because the risks of cyber threats, of misinformation. So AI must operate through the principles of privacy mentioned before about the scandal in my country with the lack of student data. So we must be very careful what data we use, and students should be aware of their use of the data. And the principle of data minimization, use the minimum data that you need. The human center, and you mentioned here that AI should document teachers, not replace human relationships. The issue of equality, we mentioned about this. AI should not define the future of education. Human values should define how AI shapes the future. What I say always in my presentations is, I believe that in the next years, everybody will know how to use technology, how to use AI, everybody. But it will be very rare to find people who have true moral values and integrity. That's why the role of education is this, a focus on human values, alongside, of course, with technology. I see consider technology as our assistant, as a partner, as a research accelerator, not as a replacement, because human values cannot be replaced by AI and technology.
Perfect. I think we couldn't agree more with the statement, especially talking about safety and also data protection, which is really key to every researchers. So I think since we are limited or exceed 4 minutes of our time allocations, I'd like to say thank you very much. Yeah, I would like to send our greatest gratitude, appreciation for your time allocation, for your great presentation for today, sharing everything about AI role in.
Allow me one more remark, if it's possible. To mention that's happening in Europe. In Europe now, Europe invests billions to educational institutions which are going to implement AI projects in schools. But there are already countries who say that we are returning to old textbooks. Sweden is one of the most tech-savvy countries in the world. They have already integrated smartphones and tablets from the preschool age, and now they return to old textbooks and they say that we ban digital technology. Why? Because during the pilot period, they have seen that students have started to lose their critical thinking skills, their creativity, their critical thinking. There is a tendency towards digitalization, although we invest a lot of money. Why I'm saying this? Because I want to say, of course, banning something, if you ask my opinion, it's not the solution. The solution is to challenge as educators to help students navigate this complex world. Otherwise, we will lose the game and we will return to old textbooks. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Nice closing statement. And yeah, so thank you very much for Professor Rania Lampou. I think what we can get from today's discussion is that we can see that AI is not simply a technology that we can adopt or reject. It is changing the way we teach. For example, we learn, we conduct research, and even manage the university or something like that. In short, AI might change the tools we use, but it should not change our responsibility to think critically, act ethically, and create knowledge that matters. So, thank you very much for your time, Professor. Now, let's proceed to the next session and to our next presenter for today's session. Here we have our distinguished speaker, Professor Dr. Risma Niswaty SS M.Si. She served as the Vice Director 1 for Academic and Student Affairs of the Postgraduate Program Universitas Negeri Makassar. So, as an academic leader with her extensive experience in higher education and academic affairs, Professor Risma's perspective will provide, of course, valuable insights into the opportunities and also challenges of the AI. So without further ado, allow me to invite Professor for the virtual floor is yours.
Okay, thank you so much, the moderator, and good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to first session of UNM Global Academic Forum. I think it's a great pleasure to welcome all of our distinguished speakers, participants, and colleagues to this forum. A special welcome to our colleagues from India and Greece. Rania, Lampou, it's a really interested presentation to all of you, the speakers. Thank you for joining us and for sharing your valuable knowledge with the UNM academic community today. And I would also like to sincerely thank all of the committee members and everyone who has worked hard behind the scene. Without your dedication, this forum would not be possible. And to all participants from not only from UNM but also from Indonesia, I think because they're from West Sumatra and other countries. Thank you for being here. I hope today will be more than just a seminar, just a webinar, but I hope it will become a space where we exchange ideas, learn from each other, and perhaps begin a new academic collaboration. So let us learn, connect, and move forward together. Okay, as the last presenter, let me share my presentation. Okay. It's a great pleasure to join you today. And I think when we talk about artificial intelligence, it's no longer a distant possibility. It's already influencing how we teach, how we learn, how we conduct research and communicate knowledge. Presentation, I invite all of you to look beyond technology itself and consider a more important question. How can we lead postgraduate education wisely, ethically, and meaningfully in this rapidly changing AI era? Oh, sorry. Sorry for the technical problem. Okay, moderator, can you see my presentation?
Yes, Prof.
Right?
It's possible. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Sorry for the technical problems. Okay, so let me continue about the postgraduate education. Is currently at an important turning point. AI, of course, changing not only how information is accessed, but also how knowledge is produced and communicated. Our students are becoming active creators, collaborators, and critical users of knowledge. But at the same time, many traditional academic practices are being challenged. Therefore, universities cannot simply continue doing what they have always done. We need to adapt, to transform, and lead this change with clear academic purpose. Okay. So we can already see AI transforming almost every dimension of academic life. It can personalize learning, accelerate research, support supervision, improve academic communication, and connect scholars across geographical boundaries, like we do now. Therefore, to determine how AI can enhance academic quality while maintaining intellectual independence, human interaction, and scholarly responsibility. And then there is an important difference between adopting AI and transforming education through AI. At the first level, we simply use AI tools for specific tasks. Integration occurs when AI becomes meaningfully embedded in teaching and research. And then transformation goes further. We redesign academic practices around responsible human-AI collaboration. Therefore, our question should not only be, can I do this? Can AI do this? But we should ask, how can AI help us do it better, ethically, critically, and meaningfully? AI, of course, provides an opportunity to rethink postgraduate learning itself. We can move from content delivery toward inquiry, from standardized instruction toward personalized learning, and from knowledge recall toward critical evaluation and knowledge creation. Students should become more active owner of their learning journey. However, technology should never reduce the human dimension of education. Our responsibility is to use AI as a catalyst that strengthens curiosity, collaboration, critical thinking, creativity, and meaningful intellectual engagement. AI is also transforming the postgraduate research journey. It can support literature discovery, identify emerging research gaps, assist data exploration and visualization, improve academic language, and facilitate modeling, coding, dissemination. Of course, these capabilities can make research more efficient and potentially more innovative. But however, efficiency must never replace scientific rigor. Researchers remain responsible for questioning evidence, verifying information, ensuring originality, making methodologically decisions, and maintaining the integrity and quality of scholarly work. The emergence I also invite us to rethink thesis and dissertation supervision. We can envision a collaborative relationship involving the supervisor, the students, and responsible AI. AI may support brainstorming, literature exploration, organization, preliminary feedback, and data analysis. However, supervision remains fundamentally human. Supervisors provide intellectual direction, critical judgment, mentorship, empathy, and quality assurance. And I think AI can do that. Students must retain ownership of their thinking and research. AI should support scholarly development, never become the author or decision maker. And then with the opportunities offered by generative AI come a serious question about academic integrity. We must address authorship, plagiarism, fabricated information, false references, privacy, bias, and excessive dependence on technology. Prohibiting AI entirely is not necessarily the solution, of course. Instead, we need a culture of responsible use built around four principles: transparency, verification, accountability, and ethical practice. Ultimately, researchers must be able to explain how AI was used and take full responsibility to their academic work. AI, so what must remain human? AI can process enormous amounts of information, of course. AI can recognize patterns, automate a routine task, and generate possible solutions with remarkable speed. If we count it in a second, AI can make many things. Yet, postgraduate education involves quality that cannot simply be delegated to algorithms. Critical judgment, creativity, empathy, ethical reasoning, contextual understanding, and wisdom must remain fundamentally human. Therefore, the future should not be framed as AI versus human, of course. The more productive vision of is AI working with human, where technological capability is guided by human values, purpose, and our reality. And then how about the changing role of lecturer and supervisor? As AI become more capable, the role of lecturers and supervisor must also evolve. So our value can no longer be defined primarily by delivering information, because information is increasingly accessible. But we need to become learning architect, critical mentors, research partner, feedback coaches, and orchestrator of meaningful human, which is AI interaction. Our greatest contribution is helping students question, evaluate, create, and contribute responsibility. Technology can support this process, but academic leadership, mentorship, empathy, and wisdom must continue to guide it. becoming AI really requires more than providing access to technology. We need to build an academic culture where students, lecturers, supervisors, and staff understand both the possibilities and limitations of AI. This culture be grounded in AI literacy, ethic, collaboration, innovation, responsible decision making, and inclusive access. Most importantly, transformation must be collective. An AI ready culture is intentionally built and continuously nurtured, ensuring that technology empowers human potential while strengthening academic excellence and integrity. To move from aspiration to action, postgraduate institutions need a clear strategic framework. So transformation should begin with vision and leadership, and followed by developing institutional capacity, redesigning pedagogy and curricula, strengthening research and innovation, protecting ethics and integrity, and continuously evaluating our progress. I do believe that this dimension must be supported by infrastructure, by partnership, by resources, communication, and sustainability, of course. AI transformation is not a one-time technology project, but it's a continuous institutional journey involving people, process, a purpose, and a responsible leadership. As we conclude, AI offers possibilities, greater access to knowledge, deeper insight, global collaboration, automation, and accelerated innovation. Yet, technology alone cannot determine where we should go. Human wisdom must provide purpose, ethics, empathy, creativity, and responsibility. Our challenge is not simply to adapt to AI, but to shape its role in education. So the future belongs to those who combine human wisdom with AI possibilities and use both to create meaningful impact for humanity, of course. Okay, I think that's all my presentation. As we come to the end of this presentation, I would like to give simple thought. The question is not longer whether AI will change postgraduate education, because it already has, but the real question is, are we ready to lead that change? AI can give us speed, AI can give us knowledge, AI can help us analyze, create, and innovate, but AI can decide what is right, what is meaningful, and what is worth pursuing. Thank you so much. I give it back to the moderator.
Well, what a wonderful presentation from Professor Risma Niswaty, M.Si. I think that was really practical especially for us as a researcher, so also for the postgraduate students and researchers, also for us as supervisors or lecturers. So I'm opening the Q&A sessions, so we encourage and we invite all participants to ask questions related to our topic for today. So I think, Prof, we have a question here in the chat box. Again, also from Pak Abdoulie Jonga. So the first question here, he said that what academic practices that we can currently consider essential might become obsolete because of AI, and what new practices do you think will emerge? So I think that's the first questions.
Okay, from Abdoulie Jonga, the international student from West Universitas Negeri Padang, West Sumatra. Thank you so much. You are very active in this webinar. Okay, about what is that we currently consider essential might become obsolete because of AI, and what new practices do you think will emerge? Okay, according to me, practices that may become obsolete is routine summarizing, basic literature searching, manual formatting, and repetitive academic writing task. And about the new practices, AI, sorry, uh,
No, sir. Ada tadi yang ini.
okay. I think he interrupted. Okay. And for the new practices, AI-assisted research design, prompt literacy, AI verification, stronger critical thinking, and transparent human, which is AI collaboration. And for the question number 2, how should academic journal and universities regulate the use of generative AI in research and scholarly? I think journals and universities should allow AI as a supporting tools, no, just for a supporting tools. Okay, we repeated that. Not as an author or substitute for scholarly responsibility. They should require disclosure of significant AI use, protect confidential data, verify references and outputs, and hold researchers fully accountable for accuracy. And then originality, ethics, and of course for the final decisions. Okay, I think that's all for Abdoili Jonga.
Yeah, I think that's all for the questions.
Oh, yeah, there is also
Oh,
one
yeah,
question from Eka Aprianti.
yeah.
If AI can support almost every step of the research process, how can supervisor ensure that postgraduate students still develop genuine intellectual independence and critical thinking? Okay, thank you so much, Dinda Eka. Supervisor, of course, should treat AI as a thinking partner. Once again, as a tool, yeah. Not a thinking replacement, not to substitute. Student should still be required to explain and defend their research questions, theoretical choices, method, interpretation, and conclusion with their own words, with their own thinking. And then supervision can emphasize oral defense, yeah, reflective discussion, use AI for assistance, but they must remain intellectual responsible for every major decision in this research. Okay, I think that's all for Eka Aprianti.
I think that's all, Prof. That's all the
Okay,
questions.
there is also one
I think
more question.
one last question, probably,
Yeah,
Prof.
the last question, I think, because in Makassar, it's already Asar time.
Yes, we are limited by the time.
Yeah, okay. Asmarianti, postgraduate student, the slide states that AI shouldn't replace the human element in education, but amplify human potential. I would like to ask, how can postgraduate lectures ensuring AI-enhanced learning, such as personalized, AI-supported pathway, doesn't reduce the depth of mentorship? Okay, and so on. Okay. Again and again, I answer that the key is to use AI for support and efficiency. Yep. while reserving human interaction for the most intellectually important parts of supervision. AI can help with personal resources, giving feedback, drafting, progress tracking, but supervisor should still lead critical dialogue on theory, on methodology, interpretation, ethic, and scholarly judgment. There is a spatial interaction that I think AI cannot substitute: human relation. In thesis or dissertation guidance, regular face-to-face or synchronous discussion, oral justification of research decision, and reflective questioning are essential for supervisor and students relation. In this way, AI handles some routine support, of course, while mentorship become even more focused on critical thinking and academic maturity. Okay.
Okay. I think that's all. Thank you very much for the responses, Prof. And also thank you for all participants for the engagement. Yeah, although we are at the last session, but we've got many questions and engagement, also discussions, constructive discussion. Thank you very much, Prof, for your time and for your excellent presentation. I think to conclude that for the last presentation reminds us that AI is changing postgraduate education, but AI should not replace human role in education. Instead, it should help us learn better, research more effectively, and also work more creatively. That's the most important thing. So, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished speakers and respected academics, we have now come to the conclusion of our UNM Postgraduate Global Academic Forum Chapter 1. So today we have had the privilege of engaging with distinguished scholars, experts from India, Dr. Souvik, and also from Greece, Professor Rania Lampou, and also, of course, from Indonesia, Professor Risma Niswaty, M.Si from UNM, which reflects and truly international spirit of our academic forum today. So thank you very much for your kind attention, engagement, and we'll see you in our next academic forums next month, inshallah. So, and on behalf of the organizing committee and postgraduate program of Universitas Negeri Makassar, we'd like to express our deepest gratitude to everyone here. So thank you. Wabillahi taufiq warahmah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you.